The great Bobby Belt.
Bobby Belt is an idiot.
Don't make me take off my belt.
Don't make me take off my belt.
We're not.
Over to you, Bobby.
Is the honeymoon over already? Or am I overreacting a little bit? Let's talk about it here in Below the Belt, which is brought to you by D&M Leasing and Window Nation. Cowboys get the 40-37 wild overtime victory over the Giants in week 2.
So the really only mistake, right, from Russ throwing up that ball to Donovan Wilson. Be honest.
Mm-hmm.
How many times were you wrong in the overtime? And when did you have your most confident opinion that someone was winning the game? My overtime back and forth mentally for me was twice. I was like, all right, well, the Cowboys didn't score. The Giants are going to win. They can't stop them. Giants are going to win 2 different times, and then it's going to end in a tie. I did have, after the Cowboys didn't score on the first possession,
I thought it was over.
I said Giants are winning or we end up in a tie. I had confidence and faith until that first possession ended in a punt.
Yeah, the moment the Giants did not score on that first drive, I was like, oh, now the count, like, it just seesawed. Whoever had the ball, like, oh, now they're winning. And look, truthfully, like, as the moment it got to the tie, to overtime after the Aubrey field goal, I was like, yeah, we'll win. We'll find a way to win. But as soon as we punted, completely went back to the Giants are winning this game.
Yeah, it was after Dallas failed to score the first time. It was each time somebody got the ball. I thought, well, they're winning now. So it's like when the Giants got the ball after the first, it's like, oh, Giants are winning. Well, then when they punted, it's like, all right, well, Dallas is winning. And then they punted again. It's like, well, okay. And then by the end, I was thinking something is going to happen here, and they're just not going to be able to kick it, and we're going to get 37-37. We were just sitting there watching it, and it's like, you've run down this clock now, and you're lining up Aubrey. Like, this would be the perfect ending to this weird game if Aubrey does the 64-yarder and then just like a 44-yard kick that he's made a million times.
Right.
He misses this, and it's like, tie game.
Yep.
Y'all go on. But it was he's money. He is. I was looking it up I've been looking up Aubrey's stats all morning. He is between 43 and 60 yards in his career now. He is 39 for 40. He's missed 1 kick. And
It doesn't seem right.
No. He's missed 6 kicks in his entire career that weren't blocks. So, like, I mean, he's had a ton of kicks he's had like 3 or 4 kicks that have been blocked in his career. But outside of that, just him missing, like, he's just shanked this or he's done whatever else. It's just 6 kicks that he's missed on his own. And one of them was a 70-yarder against Carolina at the end of the half where they're like, let's just do it. Let's see if we can make this.
That doesn't count.
So he to me, I said it yesterday, and I think we've never, it's the kicking position, so it's funny to talk about it in these terms. He is like to kicking right now to me like what Mahomes was the first 2 years, where it's like, holy cow, I've never seen anybody play like this. Or, oh my gosh, is this like dude just destined to be the greatest of all time already?
Yeah.
Because it's so
Mo
insane.
Rivera.
And that's exactly, Dak got asked after the game about being like, is Brandon Aubrey your closer? Like, you know, how it's like a closing pitcher who comes in there. And Dak started saying, like, yeah, we need to come up with like his entrance music, like a closer. We need to just have music that plays when Aubrey comes in for a big kick like that.
Yeah, the Mets pick it.
Yeah, exactly. Get the trumpet. But he is Aubrey's absolutely fantastic. They're walking to the locker room after.
Brandon Aubrey, I feel like if I saw him out in public today, I would go up and try to hug him.
Yeah. He's the most popular. If you want to talk about approval rating, he's got to have the highest approval rating of anybody associated with the Cowboys.
Is he their best player?
Yes, he is. I mean, at what he does.
Is Lamb too?
He's the best.
Yeah, if you want to talk about, obviously, like, you would weight certain positions as more important, but if you're just talking about at their skill, yes, he is the best.
He's better than what CD does.
He's the best.
You can make an argument that he's at his position, he's the best player in football, like in that sense. Yeah. But obviously, you would say, well, Mahomes, I would take Mahomes over Brandon Aubrey.
Well, Allen, not Mahomes anymore.
But I will say, and we'll get into this list at some point, but the Dallas Morning News did the top 100 Cowboys players of all time, and they had Brandon Aubrey behind Dan Bailey, and I didn't like that. And so in the press box, I went to Calvin Watkins yesterday, who like orchestrated the list, and I was like, "What's the deal?" He's like, "I'll tell you what." He said, "You can go on the air tomorrow. You can tell people on the record."
Oh, on the record
that I told you if I could do it over again, I would put Aubrey above Dan Bailey. So you can issue that correction if you like. So
he should put Aubrey above. Out of the 100 players, 94 of them.
We'll get through the list. It's fun. It'll be a fun back and forth.
So they are walking to the locker room yesterday, and Aubrey's holding the ball, and he's got Oso Odigizua on one side, and he's got James Houston on the other. And James Houston, he's got this like hilarious look on his face of just being blown away, and he's talking across Brandon Aubrey to Osa, and he's going, I didn't really know. Boy's got ice in his ass. He's like, I didn't really know anything about him. Now that I'm here and I see this, I'm like, damn, we get to the 50, we're good. We're scoring. If we get to the 50-yard line, we're scoring. And so that's the Brandon Aubrey experience for everybody. But he is as automatic as it gets. He's absolutely incredible. And because
Shawnee said he would have trotted him out there 70-yardish. range.
Yeah, obviously the hook to the kick, I don't know how it may change it, but yeah, that hit middle of the back of the net. Shoddy said afterwards, he said, I think that was good from 70.
Field goals from 64-plus yards in NFL history. Rest of the NFL, 2. Brandon Aubrey, 2. Ed Werder tweeted that out. It's automatic.
He's insane, and I absolutely do think there were some Giants folks that were laughing in the press box. They're like, what? Because they heard postgame, I think Graziano had asked him. He's like, what's your range? What's your limit on Aubrey? And Shoddy was like, probably around 70.
The thing is, he's not Sebastian Janikowski, you know? His legs don't look like they're going to squat a car. He's a little, Opie Taylor, and he's sitting out here hitting this thing 70 yards?
Yeah, look, I just... Soccer players have to be built different than kickers. I know all kickers are soccer players at some point, but like a pro soccer player, they're just different. They're just different.
This is Brandon on the game tire and the game winner.
Yeah, it's well within the range. We have a job to do, and going into that last kick, it was like 30 seconds left and they scored the touchdown, just praying for an opportunity. And once we got into range, just walking through my normal process, which is just focusing on the details that it takes to kick a ball. I'm not really worried about what the situation is. Got a job to put the ball through the uprights, so just tried to do that.
Yeah, the accuracy on the 60-plus is really what it is, because a lot of these kickers can kick 60-plus. The guy yesterday for Indy that missed it wide right from 60, I mean, that thing was good from 70. And it's just the fact that he can kick it from 65, and it's not the accuracy that's the problem. That to me is the most unreal part of this.
Laufenberg tweeted 4 field goals from 60-plus ties an NFL record, 48 of 49 at home. His only miss coming from 40 against Houston. He hit the upright.
He was, as he was walking to the locker, and they were all talking before he got down there, and James Houston was talking, one of the coaches was standing there and was like giving him props and was like, what a victory, hell of a victory, man. And you know what Aubrey said? He goes, it was good. I prefer to win by 50, but he's just like, I'll do what I got to do to contribute. But let's beat these boys down next time.
Schefter points out that Aubrey becomes the first NFL player ever to convert a game-tying field goal with no time in the fourth, and a game-winning field goal with no time remaining in overtime in the same game.
So that's the positive, and that's all the good, and that's all the happy. Let's talk about maybe a problem. A little bit of a problem. At least I just wonder. So watching this game yesterday, I was watching the very first play of the game, and they throw a swing pass to Javonte Williams. And nothing super spectacular about it. It's like a 7-yard pickup, whatever else. But I'm watching the play, and as they throw the swing pass out, where we're sitting in the press box is like right behind the Cowboys offense. So you've kind of got this clear shot of everything. And I just noticed Pickens crossing the field, and he was there to pick off Paulson Adebo, the corner. Like once the swing pass was out there, Pickens was supposed to block. And he makes a half-hearted block attempt to kind of throw his shoulder into him, misses. Adebo ends up wrapping him up and tackling Javonte Williams for a 7-yard gain. If Pickens makes that block, it's a first down for sure, and then who knows what occurs after that. Then you had the throw in the corner of the end zone, which was not an easy throw at all, and it was one that fell incomplete. But as he's tracking the ball in the corner, this was in the second quarter, I believe, he's going down there, and as I'm watching him run and the ball's going towards him and we're seeing it on the TV screen, I'm thinking to myself, he doesn't see it. Like, he doesn't look actively engaged with the football at all, which some guys will do that. They try to, not look super engaged with the football so that corners don't know that they've got to make a play on the ball. But then that ball gets down there, and he makes no attempt to put his arms up and attack the football at all. He just was happy. He put his arms down, was happy to just let it fall in his lap, and the corner just puts his arm in between it, knocks it away. And a lot of us were discussing in there. It's like, dude, you're supposed to be the contested catch guy. You were supposed to go get that, and you didn't.
Archer tweeted something about it too.
And I there were a couple times yesterday where you watch him and it's like, is he totally engaged or is he totally giving the effort that he needs to, especially in a contract year with some of the reputation that exists? And maybe I'm wrong. Did you guys
watch him in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
And did this happen?
So, yeah, there were times where this would happen and everybody thought it was just he's checked out on Pittsburgh. But he also, because there were other times he would really go after the football.
You know, you and RJ agreed on that first one. It didn't jump out to me. I'd have to go back and rewatch it. A lot of these, ISOs plays that you're talking about. I did not notice that in the first one. My Pickens take yesterday was when you get in 3rd and 18 and 3rd and 20, just heave it up. Just toss it up to him. Something good's going to happen. 8 catches for 98 yards and a touchdown in 2 games. He's drawn 3 DPIs with 79 penalty yards, so 177 yards of offense on 16 total targets. Marcus Mosher tweeted that out.
It's a tough one because I was, like you said, I was on Bobby's side with that one in the end zone. There were other times in the second half that came out and they were, getting the ball to him and it was like, all right, he's just out there trying to get flags. Yeah. I just felt like, but he makes great. I mean, he does also, like you said, he goes up with big plays. I mean, he had a lot of big plays in this game.
He had a big play in week 1. They didn't end up beating Philly, but he had that huge, was it 4th down? He had that huge catch that kept the drive going against Philly last week.
Dak with the improving chemistry with GP.
They keep pass interference in them. We're good. We're on this. We can get better. Me and CD can get better. All of us can get better. That's the standard and. That I'll hold us all to in the sense of like practice. Like we're never going to say we've made it. We're complacent in our relationship, and there's no room for improvement. So we can definitely improve more. But I think just that touchdown at the end of regulation before they got their last little heave, right, was just a prime example of just the trust, putting that ball right there on the front pylon. Know he's going to run a great route and coming out of it. Hell, and in the overtime, right, the catch across the middle, had to let it go a little early, and he pulls away and goes and makes the catch. It's continuing to grow, and it's in the right direction, and I'm proud of just the work that he's put in and the trust that we have in each other.
He's as effective at lifting up other people that he's definitely at fault for knocking down as the Cowboys secondary is in zone.
Ooh. Yeah,
there are so many things. I hope that Trayvon Diggs has a meeting with Eberflus today, and he's like, hey, this system of defense does not work for me.
I got some D's nuts thoughts for you here. Let's have a conversation. So, and you're right, and I do. I love as these things go on throughout the week. We're going to hear more of that conversation. Brought us really great at breaking this down in the post-game show too. But the question that my friends and I were discussing is how much of this does fall on these are man corners and zone defense, and they just don't work well together.
Yeah, and look, and I understand one of the counter arguments to that is surely going to be the first time it really felt like Malik Neighbors was able to torch Trayvon Diggs was on a man-to-man route down the left side. Like I will concede that, but
the majority of the times where they broke free, anybody on that field, Wan'Dale Robinson, Malik Neighbors, it was because of a coverage situation. There looked like because of a miscommunication between safeties and corners where corners thought that they had help.
Okay, I'm glad that you said that because this feels like a situation where you have to crash the classroom pretty hard because it was... And you know what? If you want to talk about Trayvon Diggs' catch-up speed, like I think that is a totally valid conversation to have as well. But there were multiple plays where the cornerbacks or the safeties who were supposed to break off and go with a person did not seem to realize that that was their responsibility until the receiver was 5 yards gone. And guess what? That receiver's already running. I don't care how fast you are. If you're picking up off of your coverage and like, oh crap, that's supposed to be my guy. Yeah. It's going to be doom, especially since Russell Wilson. And look, I still don't think the Giants offense is going to trend out to be very good this season, which makes yesterday all the more troubling, but he was dropping some really excellent long-range passes and just made you pay time and time again.
Which that was the fear going into the game. The only fear I think anybody had was, what if he connects on these? What if he lets these loose? I heard it from Shan in the morning. I heard it from our show. Broadus multiple times on the pregame show. That was one of Broadus's big concerns. He was like, look, with Deron Bland out, I'm very interested to see how they deploy Wan'Dale Robinson. And when he brought that name up, I was like, oh, no, yeah, I keep forgetting. There's more than just Malik Neighbors out there doing these things. And Broadus was right again on that. So, like, that was the only thing I heard from most people was, what if this happens? And then it seemed like nobody on the Cowboys sideline ever thought, what if this happens?
Right.
Because they didn't look like they were prepared for it at all. But that was, again, the Giants were just bad enough for the Cowboys to be 1-1 this week rather than 0-2, which would have ultimately ended their season, as Kevin said last week.
I look, and I still stand firm to that, but that
I feel
also...
like you were getting ready to send the text,
Yeah.
guys, season's over.
That also is probably a reflection of, like, what individuals think about the Giants. And by the way, I loved Dak's answer to that. He's like, oh, yes, I don't know. I don't want to know the difference between, like, 1-1 and 0-2.
Yeah.
So here's my next question for everybody then. And I understand if, like, you're a diehard Cowboys fan and you wanted them to go like 2-15 or 3-14 to get the number one pick in the draft or whatever. Like, I understand that. Let's put that aside for the moment. Last week, I feel like we all walked away and being like, oh, yeah, they played better against Philadelphia than I thought they would. And by the way,
1,000%. How much of that, my question to you still is, how much of that was catching them by surprise because they had no clue what to expect from you?
I mean, maybe. I look back at that game and I did not watch the Cowboys-Philly game and be like, man, we just revolutionized and changed the game.
No.
Like, I thought what we ran out there was, we ran more motion, but I didn't think...
Oh, 42% more motion.
But I didn't think we were running these, like, crisscross motion pre-snap patterns that you're like, I don't even know what to do.
Yeah.
And so, and Philly just beat Kansas City, which is going to lead to another conversation about what's up with Kansas City, how washed is Travis Kelce. Like, that's a whole other conversation.
We'll get to that today.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have plenty of time today. We have like 4 hours.
We got 4 hours, man. 3 hours and 53 minutes. So my question then is, if there's no such thing as a moral victory, because no matter how well you thought aspects of the team played against Philly, you lost, is there a moral loss? Because it does feel like more negative this morning when you won.
Well, I think the negative part of it is, hey, let's be real about what we saw. And if you're being real, doesn't that, oh, you're being realistic, that's negative. Let's just be real about what we actually saw, because I don't want to act like everything's flowers and butterflies.
No.
What was it that Jerry gave us, rainbow soup or something like,
Yes.
like he said on Friday, because he was in a great mood with us on Friday.
Do you think of rainbow soup as just leftover milk if you ate Trix?
Oh man, maybe so. Maybe or Fruity Pebbles
or Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops,
yeah,
or whatever the off-brands of those are called.
Sure.
Fruit O's. I don't know I haven't. It's been a while. All right, since I've grabbed the bag off the bottom shelf. All right. I'll be honest about that. Sorry, Alec. I think there are definite positives to take away. I think every coach is going to walk away telling his guys, y'all fought till the end. Y'all never gave up. You never quit on this game. That's why we want, like, that's what his moral victory or a moral loss conversation is going to be. The reason we are 40-37 is because y'all never quit in this room.
Yeah.
Y'all could have just thrown in the towel. And I'll give them credit for that. I absolutely will give them the credit for, hey man, they fought through it all. Their best player was the one that delivered for them in the end, ultimately, 2 different times to put them in the situation for it. So I think that, again, just like last week, by the way, the word again, listen to Shotty. Just listen to Shotty when he talks and how often he says again. By
the way, did you hear him in the post? And maybe we have this conversation in longer form another day, where he seemed annoyed that people are annoyed when he talks about culture. Like the fan base generally, it feels like they like Brian Schottenheimer,
yes.
But some get annoyed because they're like, culture, go win a game. And he goes, sorry, I know people don't like me talking about this, but our culture. And so it's been 2 games and he already referenced that he thinks people are annoyed by
I like that he has a finger on the pulse then.
That's fair.
Rather than just ignoring it and acting like nothing exists. Like, right? Like the culture thing was the only thing we could talk about during the offseason. It was the only thing that we were given privy to, honestly.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see any of the actual what's this thing going to look like, except for a few short spurts in practice. But the culture part of it definitely matters, because when you're fighting for these moments, you were better than we thought against Philadelphia. But what do we come in here, man? We got a lot of things we can do that are better. You won against the Giants, but what does Schottenheimer and Eberflus have? Man, we got a lot of things we can do better. So they're not a perfect team right now. Do I think they'll be a perfect team at the end of the season? No. I don't think anybody's going to be a perfect team, but I think that they are, if they continue on this trend, this trajectory, they should grow into a better team than they are, because there's so much fraying they still have to tighten up.
Look, I don't want to get yelled at by Brian Kelly, and so I am going to be happy that the Cowboys won, because I truly believe if you fell to 0-2 against a Giants team that I still think is going to be last in this division, that would be a really, really terrible start to the season. But to your point, that's not to say that you cannot analyze all of the flaws. Look, go back to the end of the first half, and I know this is going to get lost in the way the game played out, but just abysmal decision making by Dak Prescott. By we're not getting the snap off in time before the play clock elapses, and then being like, well, that's not fair. It was 0 sometimes. And I'm like, snap the ball.
And Kevin, you had an opportunity for a 14-point swing on either side of the half, and you failed on both sides of it. Immediately throw an interception on the other side of it. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish with the minute and 58 seconds left going into the halftime. I have zero clue. Because what did we keep hearing from Greg Olsen, who looks like Dexter? Yes, we get it. What did we keep hearing from him? All they have to do is get to midfield, and Brandon Aubrey can kick a field goal. A potential 14-point swing, a potential 6-point swing. That's perfectly fine. Either way, you came away with 0 on each of those series. And that's something that you have to go back into the locker room. You have to go back into the film sessions and go, guys, this is miserable. That was a ridiculous set of circumstances we had going into halftime altogether. I did want, because again, if I'm gonna talk about the negatives,
you've been listening to Schottenheimer.
I want to point out some positives too.
Javonte Williams.
Well, I will get to him at some point because he helped my fantasy team. But Turpin, I loved how they used him in the third quarter, and they were like, "Look, we're gonna move real quickly and get you the ball real fast and do some things." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then they went to CeeDee Lamb, and they started moving it around. Look, we're gonna expose some pieces of this defense with guys that we know are good, and I think that they have more of that in hand. I just got to figure out exactly how Turpin's going to fall into this in the future. Hopefully, we got fingers crossed here.
Well, and he did say that his x-rays came out good, and I thought this was a positive sign that his teammates were making fun of him for having the neck brace on. Now, that leads me to believe he's going to be okay, because otherwise your locker room is filled with monsters. Like, if something was really wrong with his neck and he's like, hey, good job, buddy. Like, that is a terrible locker room. So I do not believe that is the case whatsoever.
You're going to go into court with that brace on?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you embarrassed?
Yeah, you're going to win your people's court settlement. And so, that's probably too dated of a reference. I think the fact that they were kind of giving him the business, I think that leads me to believe that he's going to be okay. That, and if you want to focus more on the science aspect of it, he said his x-rays came out good. So
I like science part.
I think that is hopefully a positive step.
You brought up Javonte Williams, and we haven't even gotten to CeeDee Lamb and Pickens or Ferguson, but Javonte Williams, tough running, had the 30-yarder, he had the touchdown that you thought he was done. Like, you watch that and you're like, oh, he's tackled, and then all of a sudden he breaks loose from it. He was effective with that and catching the ball out of the backfield. Kevin, he's a good weapon for this offense.
And he continues. You mentioned one of the runs that I thought was most impressive. I felt like we saw this 2 or 3 times in the first game. You saw it 2 or 3 times again yesterday. Javonte Williams has done a really good job of getting 2, 4, 5 yards, whatever, after it really did look like maybe you had lost the line of scrimmage on that play and the play was done, and he's done a really good job. whether it was pushing the pile or just single-handedly moving like 2 more defenders, I think he's done a terribly impressive job with that.
I don't like the way you said that, honestly. I feel like that's an oxymoron.
Oh, okay. I think
Which
he's
one is it? He's done terribly or he's impressive?
Positively impressive job.
It's too much. No, it's too
Okay.
positive.
I think he's been impressive.
There it is.
All right.
Nailed it. See, for all the people that were mad that you said terrible, and for
Okay.
all the people, I don't know, it was just me, and all the people that were upset that you were going too far in the positive side, you nailed it right there in the middle.
From the 9-4-0, Dak should have thrown 3 to 4 interceptions. He looked awful. Now, I will admit, if you think that's the case, at least 1 or 2 of those were off of either deflections or catchable balls that I think, and still, that is the most terrifying play in all of football. When you're on offense and the pass gets deflected or it goes off someone's hand and just kind of hangs in the air. Even if nobody's there, you just feel like they're going to fly down the field. And so, like, let's take Dak Prescott and Donovan Wilson.
He made some throws, Kevin, that,
Yes.
that were like insane. Insane that he threw into double coverage and completed it.
Yes.
But other ones that I'm just like, man, that Dak really put that one on the number.
And that is the dynamic that we saw in game 1, right? You're like, first half offensively great, defensively and then you kind of flipped it in the second half. We'll take Dak Prescott and Donovan Wilson, for example. I mean, I think you could look at Donovan Wilson and be like, not your finest hour whatsoever.
And he had an interception.
Yeah, but then he also had the interception on the still perplexing throw from Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson threw that ball as if there were 4 seconds left in overtime, and he's like, might as well do something. And so Donovan Wilson still did get the interception, did not think he had a good game whatsoever, but he got that interception that set you up for the win. Dak Prescott, at times, very curious the way he was running, especially the clock. We talked about the end of the second half. And then you go to the fourth quarter and overtime, 15 of 20 for 187 yards. 1 touchdown, no interceptions. And so you're like, and it is going to be tough to walk away from a game where you score that many points and be like, yeah, I think the offense really screwed us. You know, like even if they would have lost, I'm not going to go, hey, Dak, good job not covering another bomb from Russell Wilson to score a touchdown. Like that's not going to fall on him. But for most of the day, I thought he played better in week 1, despite the fact that there was a giant statistical difference.
And we'll get to it later in this week, but the questions moving forward will be, how will Clowney help the pass rush? How can they correct and fix this secondary problem? Is Bland the secret to that? Can the offense be more efficient, look less clunky? Because they look clunky to me. Despite being productive, they looked clunky at times. And then how can you just get cleaner games? Because at one point, Kevin, I thought, man, Cowboys look far superior in the discipline world compared to this team. And then all of a sudden, it just fell apart at some point. So there are still lots of questions to answer about this team.
So, yeah, things we like, things we didn't like. Guys, go ahead. What would you like here? Cowboys victory. This was nice, wasn't it? I mean, Dak was amazing. Yeah. Javonte Williams was, he's running back 1, isn't he? You can feel kind of good about running back 1.
That's something you like. Javonte, and he's a guy that gets better as the game goes on. I mean, this is back-to-back games, fourth quarters coming around, and this guy's running tough. Yeah. I mean, he's always falling forward, similar to the days of Marion Barber. And Zeke, of course, when he was young. But he is tough to tackle. That guy is a load. Yeah. I think that's certainly a positive takeaway. We gave Brandon Aubrey his praise. I mean, there's not as enough that you can really say about him. But Dak was great. I mean, when you went back and watched the All-22, I think Dak was even better than I felt coming out of the game, specifically in the fourth quarter and overtime. But he had some throws that were drops. The Schoonmaker pass over the middle, like Schooney, catch that. Tolbert along the sideline hits him right in the hands. Tolbert doesn't make the play. So like Dak was on, and when you needed him most, he really did step up and made some big time throws.
Yeah, I was wondering what's the number with Aubrey that you would say we're going to let you go, because I think it might be like $15 million. I think it's that important.
I would trade him before that.
You trade him before? What do you think you get for Aubrey?
A first-round pick.
That's what the question now you have to ask yourself, because we used to have this discussion about Tucker with the Ravens, kind of back in the day. Yeah. What would you trade for a guy that that you can get points from at midfield? That's where. And if you're a team that's kind of at the bottom of the, at the end of you feel like you're a really, really good team. having a guy like that could be the final piece. You know, a guy that puts you over the top that you don't have to worry about it, that can kick off directionally, can kick it into corners, you know, as an athlete. Man, I don't know how you wouldn't ask for anything other than a first.
Yeah, and he has all those things, kickoff and the distance, all that kind of stuff, but
All
also
that stuff.
the clutch gene too. It's like he doesn't shake in his. He's an assassin when it comes to late game stuff. We've seen really good kickers and then they fold under the pressure. And he doesn't even do that. It's just well oiled from top to bottom.
He said after the game, you know you're the best kicker in the NFL, so you should go out and have confidence in yourself. And damn it, he did it. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said.
Especially if you're a dome team. If you're playing half your games indoors, he is a weapon. I mean, and not to say that he can't kick outdoors, but like to me,
inside it's automatic.
You get him inside, there's a 68, 70-yard field goal in that leg.
And most of the league is that way now, right?
Yeah.
So you'll be able to have that. And that is a position where it ages well.
Yeah.
So you're hoping he's around and you don't have to worry about a kicker for the next decade.
It's like the Tiger Woods of kicking just showed up. Like everybody been playing golf for a long time and you'd had other greats like Jack, and all of a sudden this guy who could bomb it and hit it straighter and had the short game mastered and has the full complement of skills has arrived to do stuff and redefine the position.
Yeah, you're in a I remember if you had a kicker that was making them over 50 yards,
yeah,
that was like a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, geez, this Adam Vinatieri, look, he made a 48-yard field goal. Ha!
Yeah.
That's brilliant. You know, gosh dang, and now these guys line up and kick them from 60. I mean, yesterday, the Colts are going to lose a game to Denver.
The leverage penalty?
And they get a leverage call, which is never called in the National Football
Almost
League.
never.
Yeah, but that was a 48-yard miss right there. Think about that. Think about being in a game where your guy, you're just like, oh my gosh, I don't know if this guy's going to make it from 48.
You're right. I don't know what it was like when you guys were growing up, but anything over 50, like every yard after
huge.
that, it made it almost impossible. 54, 55 yards, it was a prayer.
Yeah.
And now I don't know if we give enough attention to just the precise nature of what it takes to kick it that hard, that far, without it being, I mean, how wide the uprights are. It
is amazing because like you look at guys like the Mike Vanderjagt and the Adam Vinatieri's and those guys. I mean, guys that were high-end kickers for such a long time. Tom Dempsey's 63-yard record held up forever.
Yeah.
I mean, it was forever. And then now it's like Shoddy called a play, like I said in the cross.
Okay.
Shoddy called a play to get him into 64-yard range. He didn't try and get him closer.
Yeah.
He just said, I'm going to give you about 3 more yards, bro. You got it from here. Okay, go get him. You know, and he did.
Would you consider doing it in regular game flow situations, like not at the end of halves, where you're giving them
They messed up the end of
field
half
position?
bad. That was on
really
Shoddy.
bad. That entire sequence was bad. Well,
That was bad.
I thought that was not a good series for Dak, in my opinion.
Dak was bad.
He had one under, like Javonte Williams is staring him right in the face over the middle. You could have picked up an extra 10 yards there. Just dump it off to him, and it would have been easy for you.
But go ahead. What you were going to ask about kicking a field goal for 70 yards in a game?
So they say you shouldn't be kicking 65, 70s unless it's the end of half situation where the other team can't take over. But should we throw that out? Like, are you that confident in 65 that any time at midfield, even if it's 4th and 10, we're not punting, we're not going for it, we're kicking a field goal?
Didn't we have a time where Brett Maher was kind of doing something similar?
Yeah.
And I remember sitting next to Wolchuk in the press box and going, man, I'd punt this one. And then they'd make it. And now with this guy, I don't even think about it. I don't even think about punting it. I just don't. With other kickers, you're like, God, I don't know if I'd give him the ball right there.
Did somebody say that one would have been good from 80? Like, what's the limitation on this? Well, how far would it have been good on?
I can look it up. I think they have it.
They have
it was hard to tell
next
on TV.
Gen distance. They have that
Maybe
thing.
75.
Maybe
80 would
75.
be crazy.
See, the thing about him is that his ability to drive the ball but get elevation. Most kickers have to kick it low. Now you get it blocked.
And the accuracy on it.
Yeah. I mean,
it's crazy.
Remember Zerline, the crazy ball? Like he'd kick it, it'd
Greg
move
the
all
leg.
over the place. And man, I mean, but this guy, it's just like he gets elevation and he gets distance out of it and accuracy.
Yeah. There's like a Steph Curry once in a generation type of deal to this guy. Although other kickers are coming along and really redefining it. He's the best.
You don't want to trade him, but if it came down to where he was going to Micah Parsons you,
I mean, I think it might be worth 3 or 4 games though.
No,
I think
there's peace of mind that he provides.
There's no question.
There's something about that.
I wouldn't do it, but if it got to the point where Todd France is like,
somebody's going to give us 20 a year for this dude.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Then we're moving on.
Okay, let me ask Eric this question. Eric, pay a running back or pay a kicker? All right, your running back is Henry. Your kicker's this guy.
Here's the difference. I can find running backs easier than I can find lethal, deadly weapon kickers. We're talking about Brandon Aubrey for a reason. We talk about Derrick Henry the same way we talk about a handful of other guys.
I mean, I think it's a good conversation. I'm thinking his real value is around $20 million, and I know that's insane because you got to do. But there's huge market inefficiencies at slot wide receiver, slot corner, tight end. Like the elite tight ends are making way less. Like the real value is much higher on a team like this, especially.
Is he worth more than your backup quarterback you're spending $7 or $8 million on?
Absolutely.
Yes.
You do 7 or 8 gladly. Seven or 8 is an incredible bargain to have this guy on your team. He's going to impact winning and losing more than anybody besides your quarterback.
I mean, 6.4 is the highest in the league. That's Butker. You give him 7, highest paid kicker in the league, and lock it up for maybe let's go 10 years, 70 mil. Whatever you want to do.
10 years and 70 mil. I like it, but you might get.
Is he 30 years old? Right?
He's 30 years old. Look at how this is going to raise. I don't know.
How old is our guy? Is he 30 now?
That's a good question.
Yeah, let's not act like he's 24.
Yeah, he's 30.
Okay, so that's so 5-year deal.
Kickers kicking into their 40s.
Yeah, George Blanda.
I don't know if he's going to be able to bang him like that, but I like what you're doing there. I like what you're doing. Okay, so that's a celebration over the good stuff that happened. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot today about the defense. Can I just ask you, do they have the personnel to fix this, or is the injuries to the secondary?
It's up to the coaches.
Yeah.
You can't ask
the coaches.
I'm serious. You can't ask Donovan Wilson to play cover 2. You can't ask Donovan Wilson to play single high. You can't ask him to do that. You can't ask a guy that's not comfortable. And if you're going to play zone coverage and you don't press in the line of scrimmage to redirect routes, you're going to get what happened. You're going to get 500 yards thrown on you every week. That's you've got to be able. If you're going to play cover 2 and you're going to play zone, you better redirect routes, because if you're letting these receivers, Neighbors, Robinson, whoever, run on you from depth, these guys don't turn and run like that. Elam doesn't turn and run. Even Bland doesn't turn and run like that. It's very rare that you can find a corner that can collision a route and then run with the guy.
Disappointed with what Eberflus is doing so far?
You know what? Yes. They always tell us, hey, you know what? We're trying to put our players in the best position. No, you're not. You're asking Donovan Wilson to cover from depth. He can't do that.
He can't do it.
You just watch the tape. It's his career. Agreed. He hasn't done that.
He's a better player closer to the line of scrimmage.
You just can't sit there and cover 2 all day and then even put him, like I said, in single high. You can't. That's not his game. That's Matt.
Worked against Jalen Hurts, didn't it?
If you have a veteran
they
quarterback,
didn't try.
If you have a veteran quarterback that has seen cover 2 most of his life, that's seen that you can't. They did nothing to discuss.
Russ Wilson's practiced against that every day in Seattle.
I'm watching if I'm the Giants, the reason why I ran verticals on you is because I saw that Jalen Hurts didn't see it in the Philadelphia game.
Right, Hurts just didn't try.
Didn't try to do it. Yeah, you can. To me, it's as clear as a day. If the Giants came out with a plan is like, if you're going to sit in 2 deep, we're just going to run vertical routes, and you're going to have guys that can't react to them. It's in the corners, like I said. Diggs didn't have a chance. Elam didn't have a chance. You're at 8 yards of depth, and guys are running off the line. It's a 40-yard dash to see who could get downfield, and then all of a sudden you don't have any pass rush. Now you're in trouble because now Wilson's protected and he could just throw it.
Yeah.
The interception he had, the worst pass he had all day was the interception. You know what happened to him?
Pressure.
Sam Williams got in his face.
Finally.
Sam Williams got in his face and he had to throw the ball over Sam Williams. And if Sam Williams wasn't in his face, that ball's going to Neighbors along the sidelines, and it's another big play.
Yeah. It was incredible, the accuracy. I think you do have to tip your hat to Russell Wilson, but that was a tremendous breakdown.
I didn't think he could do that, but my God, you protect him. He was. Yeah. And they had a good plan.
And I think what you just said actually makes me more optimistic. I don't think this coaching staff is going to reload that game plan against a similar quarterback.
You can maybe get away with this against Caleb Williams. You can maybe get away with it against Jordan Love. You're not going to get away with this with a veteran quarterback. It's not happening.